Oh, aloha! Did you get away for an early midwinter break in January? Well, if you did, you missed a lot of things that were happening in the apartment market. So let's take a look at it. And based on what we've seen so far this year, 2015 is shaping up to be quite the year. 10,000 people moved into the region in January. That's up 30% from January of 2014, as you can see in this chart. Now, that's based on driver license data, and it doesn't include the people that have moved out. So let's take a look at that. Typically, about 1/3 as many people move out of the region as move into the region each year, again, based on driver license data. And as this chart shows, that trend is for fewer and fewer people to move out relative to the number moving in each year. Okay, let's do a little bit of quick back-of-the-napkin math right now. 10,000 people moved in January and 1/3 as many moved out. That means we had net migration of about 6,600 people last month. If there are 1.5 to 2 people per household, then that means we created housing demand for 3,000 to 4,000 housing units in total. Now, they won't all live in apartments, but let's say half of that housing demand turns out to be apartment demand, then that means we've created demand in January from in-migration alone of at least 1,500 units. Differently, on the sales front, investors bought about twice as many units last month as they did in January of 2014. And you can see we have a decidedly upward monthly trend in sales activity. If that's not impressive enough, let's look at the dollar volume. Investors closed on $224 million worth of sales last month. That's up very significantly from about $100 million in January of 2014. Not to be outdone by all of this positive news, developers got into the act as well. In January, developers started construction on about 1,700 new apartment units in King Pierce and Snohomish County. That's up about 3.5 times from 500 units that they started construction on in January of last year. Okay, granted, not everybody is going to take that as particularly good news because all of these new units are going to become competition for existing apartments in another 18 to 24 months. But it does bode well for our economy. I hope that you enjoyed this week's video and you'll come back next week for another weekly apartment update.